Episode 91 of the Minding Your Business podcast is brought to you by the Binge Podcast Network. The Binge Podcast Network started by myself and my great business partner, great friend, Dominic Lawson of Owls LLC, and the Startup Life podcast. United forces, kind of like the Avengers are doing now. Once half the population is gone and now they're figuring out, okay, what are we going to do for this last hurrah against Thanos? It wasn't quite that dire with Dominic and I, but before Thanos could snap his fingers, we snapped ours and we did our thing. And we did a little more than snap our fingers, but a lot of work's been going in. And so we've got great podcast hosts, great podcast shows across the Binge Network. You need to go to onabinge.com to check that out. Join our no spam, no BS mailing list there on abinge.com. So make sure you do that. We're giving away a $100 Visa gift card, just a random drawing that's going to take place on Sunday. So tomorrow's the last day. So if you're listening to this podcast, make sure you go to www.onabinge.com. Subscribe. It's there at the bottom of the website. Make sure you do that. And it's important so that you can get critical information to exclusive content as well as information on different things that are going on with the Binge. And when new episodes are released, you could get that notification and hear those immediately. So you want to make sure that you do that on abinge.com. There's great shows there. There's Nothing But Buckets. There's Let's Be Real. There's, of course, the Minding Your Business podcast. There's Quotally. There's the Startup Life. So, and we're looking to grow that with, again, a myriad of podcasters that bring a myriad of subjects to the table. And so we're looking to do that. And if you have interest in doing that, www.onabinge.com. Of course, you can listen and subscribe to this podcast. You can go to www.themybpodcast.com and make sure that you check out this particular podcast. We're heading towards episode 100. Of course, Dominic just reached his a couple weeks ago, and we celebrate that. Make sure that you check out the Startup Life podcast for his episode 100. And we're coming up on our episode 100 too, and there's some big things going with that. A few things that will evolve. We constantly evolve, just like in business. Business is dynamic, right? It's not static. So we're always looking to improve, always looking to evolve. So you're going to see some things coming that you're going to like come episode 100. Legacy Living Real Estate Partners. So buy a home, sell a home, live a legacy. Go to legacylivingrealestatepartners.com. If you need to sell your home quick, I'm looking to buy. And so it doesn't really matter the condition or really the reason, but if you have struggled with maybe a judgment or a lien, or you maybe lost your job, not able to keep up with the payments, you need to make a quick move because you've picked up a new job and you need to sell your home, whatever the case is, I can certainly help. If you're looking to buy a home and you're not quite mortgage ready, we can help as well. We work with tenant buyers all around. So you may be interested in buying. You may just not be in the position right now today, but you will be tomorrow. And certainly with our help, we will help get you there. So that's legacylivingrealestatepartners.com. So today is Friday, April the 26th. This is episode number 91 of the Minding Your Business podcast. Entrepreneurship, real estate, trending news. There's no business like minding your own. You know what we do.
What we do here is go back.
All right, I am your host, Champ Ron. This is, as I mentioned, the Minding Your Business podcast. For those of you that did not know, we're here, episode number 91, Friday, April the 26th of 2019, on the planet Earth, in the great state of Tennessee, in the great city of Memphis, here in the tri-state area near Arkansas, and just north of the state of Mississippi. So I bring greetings to all of you on today. Shout out to everybody that's on Spreaker.com. What's up? everybody that's on Facebook.com. My Facebook is running a little slow today. I think they're trying to avoid hearing anything about Avengers Endgame. So I think they're trying to stay off. They finally picked that up. It took 10 years for me to tell folk, if you don't want to hear something, just stay away. But like a moth to a flame. But you try to get people to stay away, and everybody's worried about spoilers. Hell, you go see it anyway. Shut the hell up. You go see the movie. Like I told you, you could tell me what happened. Like the Avengers beat Thanos. It's the last movie. Of course they do. I still want to see how it happens. I still want to see the action and what's said. And it's a 3-hour movie. So it's got to be a whole lot going on. People say they like it. So anyway, I'm not worried about spoilers. And what y'all say on Facebook, ain't like I'm gonna believe that anyway. So y'all will say anything on Facebook. So anyway, I want to make sure that I go check that out, and I'm definitely going to do that. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that tomorrow or Sunday, but shout out to everybody who's already had a chance to see it. And now hopefully that you enjoyed it. Let us know if you enjoyed it. I imagine that you did. So anyway, today's podcast episode, the topic today is what's the motivation? Okay? And I want to get into that here momentarily. But one thing, if you happen to be in Memphis today, come by Clark Tower, the Tower Room. Come up to the 33rd floor at 4 o'clock. They normally have happy hour. And I'm going to have a group there along with good business partner Scott Kinney called Memphis Career Connects. And we're looking to help you. One of the things that I've learned is you got to help people where they are. I could talk to people about real estate investing, and I could talk to people about all sorts of manner of things when it comes to business. But if you don't meet people exactly where they are, if people are struggling to keep the lights on, or they're worried about keeping the lights on next month, they're worried about food on the table, they're worried about paying daycare, they're worried about their vehicle, they ain't trying to hear what the hell I'm saying about any other business, right? Or anything that you got to say. So I want to make sure, and I work in a support arena with a Memphis Career Transitions group. And so we want to add this in a relaxed fashion. Come to happy hour. I'll buy the first round of drinks, and let's see how we can help you. Bring your resume, bring your business cards. So whether you're in business and you're looking to start up, you need to connect with clients, you need to find talent to employ. Or if you're in career transition, maybe you were fired, whether it was your fault or not. You were laid off. They closed the doors. It's no longer a fit. The schedule's changed. There's all kinds of myriads of reasons on why you might be in career transition or maybe looking to transition. And we want to help. We being myself, Scott, and other people that'll be there. We want to help in a relaxed environment and help plug you in. I don't know everybody's situation, so you can't just fire your resume to me and say, hey, Ron, do this and do that. Let's have a dialogue. Let's see exactly what you need. I had a great dialogue with a young lady yesterday that I was fortunate to be able to help. She's in a tough schedule situation where she's working 12 to 10 this day and 1 to 9 the next day, and she get off at 10 o'clock. She got to be back at 7 the next day. And listen, it's 2019. It's time out for all that. We got all this technology and ways of doing things. There's no reason, people should be working, in a singular fashion, those type of work shifts, man. So I was able to direct her, but we had to have the conversation, right, for me to understand exactly where she is and what she wants. And that leads me to today's topic when you speak of what's the motivation. D. Sykes, what's going on, man? Looking to connect with that brother, man, doing big things out here, particularly on the real estate front. Hope you've had a chance, D. Sykes, to look at that information that I sent over. That's a game changer there. Josh Midget, what's up? What's going on? Brandy McCarley, make sure you get with her for your insurance needs. Inbox her today. And listen, inbox her when you're serious. Now, y'all don't inbox Brandy with a whole lot of mess. I don't want her coming back to me talking about folks being messy and stuff like that. Jasmine Van, what's going on? One of the co-hosts of Nothing But Buckets, that particular podcast. That's one that I mentioned earlier in the opening of the show. Make sure you check out Jasmine and her team. They're into a lot of different things right now with the NBA playoffs going on and all kinds of stuff going right now. So there's a lot for them to discuss, and make sure that you support that podcast with your listenership, as well as make sure that you leave a positive comment on Apple and all the various podcast platforms. All right, so what's your motivation? This week has been interesting when you talk about motivation. You have former Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, entering the presidential race for 2020. You have Russell Westbrook with the Oklahoma City Thunder and his exploits in their first-round playoff series against the Portland Trail Blazers, and one Damian Lillard, who closed out that series in 5 games in a very exciting fashion. So lots of motivation there. And the motivation of Russell to talk to the media, and the motivation of Damian Lillard to stay out of the antics that came from the Oklahoma City Thunder and to ultimately seal their fate and end their season. There's just a myriad of things that have been going on all week. But let me start here, because many of you that are listening to this podcast, you're business owners, you're entrepreneurs. You may be working right now, so you may be sitting in your cubicle listening to this and wondering, when the hell can I get out of this cubicle and go and do my own thing? Some of you are moonlighting. You're splitting the difference. You're working and you have your business that you're trying to launch. So whatever your situation is, the question that I ask, and that you should always ask, is what's your motivation? When people come to me about business, one of the things, whether I'm consulting, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm not a big talker. I tend to survey because I'm listening for the motivation. And there's a few reasons for that. So you say, well, of all the things, all the details, and, you stay around long enough, you hear a lot of the details, and sometimes you see the same eyes in different people. So, you tend to hear it all. There's not a lot new under the sun. People come up with, kind of new ways to do things, or new processes become innovative and things like that. But most things aren't really that new. So what I listen for, and what I recommend as a best practice for you to listen for, is what's the motivation? Why? So what's the why, right? Let's start this off from a personal standpoint, all right? So my wife and I, come this June, would have been married 12 years. We got married in 2007. 2007 seems like a long-ass time ago. But it really wasn't. But the way the world changes so much, it is. All right? So what's the motivation to do that? What was our motivation to get married? Right? What was your motivation to get married? What's your motivation to want to be married? Are you motivated by what you see other people do, what other people on Facebook? Are you motivated by you want to join the quote-unquote club? Because, if you want to hang out with married people, that's not an easy thing to do, because it requires another human being to be cooperative. I tell that to my female cousins all the time. So you want to join the club, right? You want to be able to go on the couples trips, and you want to be able to go out to eat with other couples, and blah, 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 right? You want to be able to travel and post the pictures on Facebook without having to hide them or crop them and all that type of stuff. What are you motivated by? I know how y'all think. So you some of y'all post pictures on Facebook and make it seem like y'all go to Aruba by yourselves, and hell, y'all won't go to the movies to see Avengers by yourself. So I know damn well y'all ain't going to Aruba and Tahiti and everywhere by yourself. So what's the motivation, right? What's driving you, right? And that's a question you have to ask. A lot of people won't ask that, and you want to know why? They won't ask that because they don't want the air to come out of their bubble. They don't want to get exposed to the truth. So they don't want to really know what the true motivation is. A lot of times as human beings, we chase wins. And so we want to win so bad. Like these guys in the NBA playoffs. Everybody want to win. But what's your motivation? And so because we chase wins a lot of times, we want to mask ourselves, or we want to be ignorant to what's the true motivation as to why you want to do something and why the other person or other people involved want to do something. So from a relationship standpoint, and I'm going to relate this to business, but from a personal relationship standpoint, and I'm using marriage because, that's ultimate where a lot of people want to get to is in a marriage situation. And again, people are motivated by many things. They're motivated by their own insecurities, their own guilt, their the timeline that someone's given them on when they should accomplish things in life. And that's a big one. That comes from family, friends, the environment, media, all around. So people are motivated by these different things. So as you look at this from a personal standpoint, one of the first things you had to do, and when I was talking about me and my wife, one of the things that we had to do early was understand each other's motivation. What's driving us to want to do this? Is it because mom was on your back to do it? Is it, like you say, for those things that I mentioned earlier? Is it so you can brag, so you can post and say, look, I'm better than you because I'm married and you're not? We got a lot of that too. Is it to get away from something? Is it to have someone help you pay bills? What's your motivation? Because and the reason it's important is because that's what's going to sustain you when the obstacles come. I told you, my wife and I, this June will be 12 years. We've seen all kinds of different obstacles in that time, right? A lot of different things can rear their head, whether it's from me, whether it's from her, whether it's from both of us. So your motivations evolve over time. So you had to know on the front end, what's the motivation, right? Why do I want to marry her? And why does she want to marry me? Right? A lot of us, we want to avoid that. We want to think it's just the love and this and that. Now, listen, I'm going to be the first one to tell you. A lot of folk are at the courthouse over love. I'm just going to tell you the truth. A lot of folk are at the courthouse about love. And this was posted, I think, Nia posted this week, and I commented on it. But, love's only going to take you so far, because love, and we talk about unconditional love and all this kind of thing. I'm a big proponent of unconditional respect. Unconditional meaning the respect exists even when the person is not necessarily exuding it, but you have a respect because you understand the essence of that person. Doesn't mean you're always going to be together. Because, unconditional love is difficult for the human being. Because we operate in a finite world with limited resources and limited knowledge. So to have unconditional love, we operate in a world full of conditions. Everything's conditional. It's if and when. So everything has this cause and effect deal. You do something and then there's a reaction to that. So it's difficult to say in a reality of unconditional love. My thing is when you have the right person, you have this heightened level of respect. But you have to understand their motivation. Okay? So what was my motivation to marry my wife? When we got married, I was 26 years old. All right? I had done some of everything. I got started in life pretty early. I wasn't a late bloomer. So, I was tired of that. I met someone that I had the utmost friendship and respect that existed. Right? And yes, I love her. I loved her, and I love her. She loved me, and she loves me now. So, but that's not what sustained us through the obstacle times, the challenges. When your doors get blown off, and that happens in life, and I know that, y'all know that. When your doors get blown off, you got to have a base that you go back to, right? And so that's where people say whether it's friends, but my thing is your friendship is based on likability and then respect. And so respect is at the base of that. And so when you've got the respect and then you have commonality amongst your goal, which is another reason why you need to know motivation. Because if she doesn't know my motivation and I don't know hers, and those motivations evolve, then our goals then evolve. And if our goals are in different directions, then that is a recipe then for trouble within a personal relationship. And that's whether it's a marriage, whether it's a friend, whoever it is. When our goals, evolve and they separate, and that tends to happen when there's obstacles. When I played basketball and the other team was pressing and they inbound the ball to me, my mantra was get everybody else out the way, get the hell out of my way so I can get the ball up the court. Same thing happens in personal business. We become very singular, individualistic, very selfish when obstacles come. And that's why if you don't understand the motivation, then you're not going to know when those goals evolve. You're not going to be able to know how to rein them back in. It's tough. It happens in sports all the time. Kobe and Shaq, they start out, they're young bucks. They want to show the NBA they can play. They start winning, right? They win a few championships. All of a sudden, Kobe want to be the man. Shaq's like, well, I've been the man, and I'm still the man, right? So their goals start to, although they both want to win, they still have these sub-goals that go out that say, I want to be MVP. I want to lead the team in scoring. I want to be regarded as this or as that. Nothing wrong with that, but you've got to understand that motivation so you know how to rein that in so that people ultimately are going to go for what they want and what they're trying to achieve. So that how can you do that within a team aspect, those individual goals? That's the challenge of marriage. See, when y'all just be dating and stuff, y'all get mad at each other, y'all break up, y'all run off, and that's not that easy when you're in a married situation. So you got to understand the motivation. And in order to get there, you need to understand the motivation of what makes a person drive towards what they want. We talk about in sales about that kind of prick in the side. There's got to be something a little bit uncomfortable that gets you out of bed and gets you moving. And you want to know that in a personal relationship situation. The same way you want to know that in a business scenario. So I talk to people all the time that come to me with ideas and they want to draw up plays and things of that nature. And I always go back to what's the motivation, because when people want to do things and they get glossy-eyed and they get excited about potential wins, they can't wait to, I want this to work out because I want to be able to brag on this and I want people to be able to say this about me. And we all have that. We all want to be accepted. We all want to, have wins and things that we can feel good about and, and that sort of thing. But if you don't know the motivation, so I always ask why. Why do you, Ron, I want to get into real estate. Why? Oh, because I see folks post these checks. Okay. What happens when you're not posting one? And this is why a lot of people in business, that they're like the coyote in the Looney Tunes cartoon. They order stuff from Acme, it don't work. They order something else. Every scene they're doing something different to try to catch the same bird. Yeah, they do. It's just like that coyote. They're always trying. Every time you hear from them, I'll talk to them in January. They want to get into real estate. We talk again March 15th. They get into insurance. I talk again July 1st. They're talking about starting up a concierge business. Talk to them again in September. They want to get into sports and athletics. Talk to them again around Thanksgiving. It's something else. They want to open a daycare. It's because their motivation for each one is rooted in things that aren't sustainable. They either find out as soon as they reach an obstacle, they quit and they go into something else. So it's not like they're adding on to what they naturally already do. They just hop from one thing to the other. Same thing again, like I was talking about personal relationships. People do that same thing, man. And so I'm just sharing with y'all, You've got to understand the motivation. You've got to understand the motivation of other people involved. When people come to you and they want to do this, even if it sounds great, if someone comes to you and wants to buy your product, you need to understand the motivation, because you need to be able to know, can you replicate that with other people that are of similar nature, similar mindset, similar background. So it's not just about finding out negatives. So don't think of this. I know how y'all are. Y'all think of everything sometimes pessimistically. Everything's not about trying to find the negative in something. A lot of times it's about the positives too. If someone like I spoke about, someone, they want to, commit to you and they want to build a life with you in a marriage situation, you need to understand why. Are they about to get evicted at their apartment and need some place to stay? Why? You know what I mean? You got to know why. Same in business. When people want to do things, you've got to understand the why. Okay? It's going to sustain you and it's going to sustain them. Because if you don't, I'm just telling you, the first time an obstacle, the first time that boulder starts rolling down that hill, they're not going to have what they need to sustain, to endure. Because people don't want to endure now. That's the one thing, about people that's a little different than in the past. People don't quite have the same endurance level because it's so easy. Nothing's locked in. It's like the cell phone. A few years ago, when y'all got a cell phone, it was a 2-year contract, right? You go to Verizon or you go to AT&T, or some of y'all old enough to remember PowerTel before T-Mobile. You go and you get a 2-year contract. So if you want to leave AT&T and go to Verizon, right? What did you have to do? You had to break that contract. So let's just say you owe $800 on the contract if you break it. That's going to filter into your decision whether to leave or stay, right? Yeah. You're not going to leave Verizon to go to AT&T if you got to break the contract 18 months early, that 2-year contract. So what ends up happening, over time, right? Cell phone company say, you don't need no contract, month to month. And that's what the world's become, month to month. The same way a lot of folk live. Companies have mirrored that. They've evolved to that. They say, hey, listen, we're just going to go after the volume. We're not going to lock people into 2-year contracts no more. You want to leave? That's fine. Go on to AT&T. More than likely, you're going to come back anyway. And we've made the money off of you already. And that's how the world has kind of become. And so, with that, with things fluctuating and, not really stable like that, people are kind of that same way. So you've got to understand the motivation, because it's so easy for people to call it quits. It's so easy for people to ghost people now. You know what I mean? We operate in this virtual world. You know what I mean? Where people could be whatever they want to be online. And like I said, it's easy to get in and out of bed with stuff. So even more important now than ever is to understand the motivation of the people involved. Listen, bruh, she want to get married. What's her motivation? I'm just telling you. You can get excited. Your mama can get excited. Everybody can get excited about planning the wedding and all that. But if you don't have the motivation and you don't understand that, and you're not in tune to when that motivation changes. Like I told you, my wife and I we were 26 when we got married. We're 38 now. Okay? We've got 3 kids. So yeah, our motivations have changed over time, right? From 26 to 38. My motivation, my understanding of things, my experiences, all that have changed from 26 to 38, personally and professionally. I've had losses, I've had lessons. Yeah, I know how y'all are about those 2 words. Oh, man. Yeah, some of y'all insecurity won't let y'all say losses and all this stuff. You got to give it another name. That's fine, whatever you want to do. I've had losses, I've had lessons, I've had wins. I've had all of them. Multiples of all of them. Some were circumstantial, some were from my own short-sightedness, some from my genius ability. Just like the genius ability all of you have. What's up, Jet? What's going on? Cuzzo Lisa, what's going on? Columbia, South Carolina. What's up? El Mac, what's up, brother? Mario, what's up, AC? What's going on? Asia, what's up? Shout out to some of the folks joining on Facebook. But yeah, you got to know the motivation. So when you're in business, someone wants to start an event, somebody wants to open up an office, people want to invest. You have to know the players in the game. And their motivation is going to give you insight also into strengths and their opportunities. So you know and you can anticipate what you might have to mitigate with somebody. Right? Because it comes back to what's their motivation. If they're motivated intrinsically, meaning that they want to see something accomplished and they're willing to take the lesson or the loss, whatever it is, to see it happen, those are people that when the obstacles come, when the hurdles are placed in front of you, those are the people that bow up. It's just like, when I talk about guys in sports, right? I always love the dogs. Like, I love what Patrick Beverley's doing with the Clippers. My guy, T.A., Tony Allen. Those are because that's how I played. But those are the guys that I appreciate. You want to know why? It's not that they make all the shots and, they don't have the sexiest game, right? But those are the guys that are in the foxhole with you. And a lot of times, particularly in basketball, football, and that kind of thing, sometimes it just comes down to who's willing to hit somebody else in the mouth. And even if you're getting your brains beat in and your doors blown off, put me in the room with the guys that are going to fight to the end. I don't want to be around the guys that's going to lay down. And I'm the same way in business. I don't want to be around the people that just go lay down. Well, they said we can't do this, Ron. Well, Ron, my mama said. My daddy said. Every baby boomer that's, sitting around scared about this and that is what they worried about. It's a new day. It's 2019. So understand what's the motivation. And I want the people that's around that's motivated by, listen, I don't care what the other dude looks like across the court. We coming out here, we're going to execute our game plan. We either going to win or we're going to lose. But we're going to battle to the end. And those are the type of people that I want around me. Those are the type of people that I do business with. That's why I don't do business with everybody. You don't see me. I don't tag everybody in everything I do. You don't see me. You know what I mean? I don't. Nah. Because there's a certain type of person. That's why I look at when people come to me. I talk to anybody. I don't come across many strangers, as you could probably imagine. But when it comes down to doing business, I just like doing business with men and women with that dog factor. I like assholes. I like a little bit of asshole in a person. I like for them to, I like a little bit of that Ron go to hell type. You know what I mean? I like that dog in a person. And I don't like prima donna people that think they walk in the door and it's just supposed to be given to them. Nah. We go get it. And so, because I know that motivation is going to carry them, like I said, doesn't mean we're going to win every time. But they stay in because they understand there's a higher order, there's a higher level to what we're trying to accomplish. So every time a dollar is lost or, every time somebody don't open the door for us, they don't go running off crying with their ball, personally or professionally. My wife's certainly like that. She's a gamer. She's a fighter. And we done been through some things. You know what I mean? I haven't always been the best at some things in some areas. You know what I mean? When it comes to, managing things as a household leader. But she's a gamer, man. The girl's a gamer. Y'all hear me talk about Kim, and I don't, like folks on Facebook, I don't brag about my situation, right? Because I'm extremely fortunate, man. I haven't, I don't come from, you know what I mean? Like, I'm extremely fortunate, man. And people look up to me for things, people come to me, but I don't have all the answers. But I'm extremely fortunate. Like Kay being right there with me, my wife, 12 years this summer. But, I don't get on there. We don't post all our trips. We don't get on there bragging about, we've been doing this and doing that. You don't become, marriage is a game. You don't become no Jedi Master. You know what I mean? If you like me, you be a Padawan for a long time. At best, you become a Jedi. But you become no Master Yoda in that game? Nah. I don't care if you've been married 1,000 years. All right? Same in business. I don't care if you've been in business 1,000 years. That's not something you just always master because it's so dynamic. But it begins with the first question that you got to ask people, or that you got to ask first, if you ask yourself, is what's my motivation? When I want to do things, and I do that, and some things I've shot down that I've wanted to do because my motivation was limited for myself. I wanted to do it that day, but I wasn't prepared to be motivated to do it tomorrow with the obstacles. Chris Eagleston, what's up, brother? Muhammad, what's going on? Chris knows about the motivation. Doing things out there in LA. After doing things here in Memphis. Taking the losses, the lessons, the wins. You know what I mean? So don't shy away and don't be skittish about understanding the motivation. Yes, it may kill some deals. But that's best. Versus, a lot of mistakes and the L's that we all take are because we did not understand the motivation. We did not understand what was driving a person to want to do something. We didn't. You know why? Because we wanted to win. We saw a great opportunity. We were motivated by the energy of it, the inertia of what we were looking at. We were driven by the emotion. And that's going to be fleeing. That's just like love. That's going to flee. And when it does, even temporarily, what are you motivated by? Like I told you, a lot of folk at the courthouse over love. A lot of folk got divorce paperwork over love. What's the motivation, y'all? So, how do you recognize that in the person? You have to ask open-ended questions. I'll give you an example. Ron, tell me about this. So we want to start fill in the blank, whatever it is. Let's just use an example. We want to open a clothing store. Y'all love boutiques and stuff like that. We want to open a clothing store together. Why? To make money? Yeah. We see a need in the community? Yeah. I need something to do so mom will get off my back, or my lady will get off my back, or my guy will get off my back. Yeah. I need something to do so I can post on Facebook. I need something to brag about to folk. What's my motivation? I've never done anything in fashion or clothing. I mean, I've been doing whatever. So now what's my so am I going to be motivated if we open that store and the first week don't nobody walk in? Am I ready to pull my money out and take my ball and go home? 2 weeks in, a month in. Same way in marriage. You get home from the honeymoon, year 1, year 2, baby come, another baby come, or if you're like me, another baby come. What's going to be your motivation as that changes, as your perspective changes? You know what I mean? That's what it's about, folks. So that's what I'm sharing with you today. Is you've got to ask the questions of yourself. Ron, you want to open this store? Okay. Why? Have you picked out a location? Why that location? Does it work for you today? What do you anticipate in that area for tomorrow? Ron, how much money are you putting into it? $20,000. Right? If you go out and get a flat tire tomorrow, are you going to need to pull all that out? You catch the flu tomorrow, or you go ghost for 2 months. What's the motivation? Or are you going to go all out to make this happen? Meaning you're obsessed with it. One of the things I know when people want to do stuff is they bug the living hell out of you. That's one, I like that. Again, that's the dog that I like. I like the dogs that bark, not whimper. I don't want the whining dog. Give me the dog that's barking. I want the dog that inbox you at 1 o'clock in the morning. Hey, you know what, Ron? I was thinking about this. I was getting ready to go to bed, but man, I couldn't go to sleep, man, I wanted to, see what you think about that. Or, hey, Ron, you thought anything else about what we talking about? The people that's motivated. And look, I don't try to, like I told you, I don't try to get everybody in the business. I'm not trying to sell to everybody in the world. I don't care what product you have. Everybody should wipe their ass, but everybody's not a customer for your toilet tissue business. Everybody should brush their teeth, but you start selling toothpaste out here, everybody's not your customer. So what's the motivation? Do you understand that? And then can you replicate that? That's why you have to ask the questions, the open-ended questions, so you can understand motivation of the people doing business with you. What's the motivation of the people that you go to sell to that's going to do business with you? Elliot, the main sales just joined in, man. MainT-shirts.com. He understands that. What's the motivation? Why do people buy Main T-shirts? Why? It's one word, M-A-N-E. Not M-A-Y-N-E like some of you misfits. The true thing is M-A-N-E. Believe that. Why do people buy the shirt? Buy the hoodies? Buy the coffee mugs? Why? I got a drawer full of some of the main shirts that I wear. Why? Because you got to understand what motivates people. What motivates him to start it? What motivates the people that work with him? What motivates the people who ultimately say, I'm giving fill in the blank dollars to get me one or more of the product? You got to know why. You know what I mean? If you don't understand that, forget the rest. All right? Ask the open-ended questions of yourself and of everybody that's involved. Even when you have success, to keep success going, you got to understand how you can replicate what happens. This hurts people as much as the failure piece. Is you have success. Oh, you ain't think about that. You get in the business and it works. You start your t-shirt business and it works. You open up the store and folk coming in and they buying stuff. And they calling you and they're sending you messages online and they're tagging you in posts about how they like what you're doing and, on and on. You get in the real estate business, you start getting deposits, you start buying houses, you start fixing them up, you start selling them. You get tenants, they're good tenants. You still have to understand the motivation because, again, it's dynamic, it changes. So you still got to be asking questions. This is why the best companies, they're always surveying. They're always asking their customer. You got to do the same thing with your business partners. You got to do the same thing in your relationship or in your marriage. You got to constantly be having those conversations. Like I told you, what motivated me in 2007 when me and my wife got together, what motivated her is different than what motivates us now coming up on May of 2019. And that's evolved over time. So you got to have the community. You got to be asking the questions. The people that stay quiet and ghost and just think, we had success yesterday. That means they go buy today and they go buy tomorrow. No, it doesn't. And so a lot of us take those unnecessary L's by not understanding that motivation. So can you replicate that? For instance, if people only bought your product, so I was talking about Elliot, right? So if Elliot were to come to me and say, Hey, Ron, people are buying Maine t-shirts because I'm selling them for 5 cents a shirt. Okay? I'm going to say, one, you crazy as hell. But two, Elliot, is that sustainable? Elliot could say, well, yeah, I can continue to sell them for 5 cents a shirt. Right? Elliot, how much do the shirts cost you? So let's just say they cost him $10. It's $10 a shirt for him to make it, and he sell it for 5 cents. That's an extreme example. That's dumb. But I'm just saying. Okay, that's not sustainable. Right? I'm only going to sell, if Elliot says, I'm only going to sell a black and white t-shirt, I'm going to get rid of all the other colors, and I'm only going to sell a plain black and white t-shirt for 5 cents. That's going to be my only product. I'm like Chick-fil-A. I'm just going to sell chicken. Good chicken, too, with great service. But I'm going to sell my one shirt. Nah. It ain't going to work. It's not sustainable. So you got to understand. Yeah, he could get excited for the win. Elliot could post all day. Man, I'm selling shirts. Hey, look here, man. I'm selling shirts like crack. He could say that. And he could post it. He could tag people, and folk could comment congratulations all up and down his timeline. But is that sustainable? The answer is no. For anybody that might have been struggling with that question, the answer to that is no. That's not sustainable. Not sustainable. So he's got to understand, he's got to always be talking to his customer. He's got to be talking to himself as his motivations change and evolve. The people, again, that's around him, business partners, people that help him do different things, what's their motivation to do so? Be popular. If I hang around Elliot, I can be popular and get likes and shares too, on Facebook and Instagram. That's a fleeing motivation. Because when that don't happen, then what? Then you leave Elliot high and dry. Or Elliot can't get you on the phone no more. Or you don't answer his inboxes. Motivation. Understand that. So the first question, like in real estate, best believe it's all motivation. Why someone wants to sell their home? Motivation. What's motivating them? The customers that I tend to work with tend to have high motivation. They can't make the payments anymore from a job loss, a reduction in hours. They're in an adjustable rate mortgage. Whatever that is. All right? A judgment or a lien comes, something with the IRS. There's a death, and they inherit a property that they really don't want to have to deal with. There's all kinds of different things. They've been trying to sell themselves, the house themselves, and they're not able to sell it. They may be frustrated with their agent. They get a new job in another city, and they got to sell quick. So, that's the first thing. So when someone comes to me and says, well, will this person do your type of deal, or you think they're going to want to sell? My answer is the same every time. Don't know, got to find out the motivation. Don't know, got to find out the motivation. Don't know, got to find. I can say that 1,000 times. Don't know, got to find out the motivation. That's what it is. Because in real estate, if you don't understand the motivation, that means they're not going to understand the deal, and you're not going to. If they don't understand the deal, you're not going to do a deal. So you got to understand the motivation. You got to ask the question as to why are we here? Why are we talking? And once I know why we're talking, and I know what that motivation is, then I know if it's a fit for what we do. I can buy the property, or this time I'm not. That's not something that we're looking to do. That's the same across business. That's the same across your personal life. Right. What's going on, man? I appreciate that. So I hope, this is helpful for you in terms of understanding the motivation. I hope as you're listening to this, you can take with you that you've got to ask the question. You got to know the motivation. It doesn't mean you're a killjoy. It doesn't mean, and I've been, accused of that. I'm a veteran naturally. And so, it doesn't mean you can't be excited. Be excited. But also know what the motivation is so you could keep that excitement going. My thing is I want to keep it going. I don't want to just be hyped up for today and then the first time, we get a no, or the first time, somebody looks at us side-eyed, or the first time you post something, you don't get but 5 likes and 1 comment, you're not going to run off when it's not popping. Or, if 3 months go by and we ain't made no whole lot of money yet, you ready to jump to the other side. So you've got to understand that motivation for the short term and the long term. And it's the same personally. Because if you don't, a year into your marriage, folk be down at the courthouse. 6 months in. So understand the motivation. So anyway, I'm your host, Champ Ron. This has been episode 91 of the Minding Your Business podcast. www.themybpodcast.com is where you need to go to check out more. Like I said, we're quickly getting to episode 100, which is just, it makes me laugh just to say it, man. I appreciate everybody's support. Go out to the podcast platforms and make sure that you listen, that you share. Leave a positive comment for us, particularly on Apple. That helps grow the show. If you like the show, if there's things that you'd like to see improved or better, email me, ron@themybpodcast.com. You can also email me to get our media guide. If you want to reach our buying audience, which we do have a buying audience in the thousands that download, listen to the show, share it. You want to make sure that your brand is in front of those folks. And listen, like we had on Tom Schwab on last week, podcast marketing is where to go. I'm just going to tell y'all now. I'm just telling y'all now. We posted on the Binge Facebook page about Jamel Hill. She's sitting in a hotel room with 2 microphones and an Apple laptop. No different than a lot of our podcasters on the Binge. She's not in no sexy ESPN studio no more. She's done a deal with Spotify. Shout out to Jamel Hill. And she's got a podcast out there. She's sitting up with Charles Barkley the other day in the hotel room at a bistro table with 2 microphones and a laptop. I'm just telling you, it's not going anywhere. So we want you to do that, certainly with us. Explore that with us at the Binge. And so also with the Minding Your Business podcast to be able to do it right directly here with us. So anyway, listen, I want y'all to have a phenomenal weekend. Go and connect with somebody that you've been meaning to, a friend, a family member. Leave the pettiness alone, all right? Go reach out. I don't want to be the first one to reach out. You're the leader, right? So it don't matter whether it's mama, whether it's a child, or a friend, whoever. Let the petty stuff go. Because once you check out of this hotel called life, that's it. All right? Go be great this weekend. Listen, forgive yourself. Let the rest of that stuff go. You had a tough week this week. You made it through. You've been through worse. And you're going to continue to make it. Your business is going to be successful. Your family's going to be successful. You're going to be healthy. I want to speak positivity into you. Not to be naive. Yes, there are going to be challenges. But you're the very best you that ever existed. So you make history every day. Because ain't but one of you ever going to exist. So you make history every day. So walk in that history. All right? And be the very best you that you could be. I'm your host, Champ Ron. This is the Minding Your Business podcast.
What we do here is
entrepreneurship,
back,
real estate, trending news. There's no business like minding your own. Have a great weekend, and we're going to be back with you with a special guest, man, on next week that I'm really excited about with this entrepreneurship board game that he's got. That, man, listen, you're going to want to be back here for next Friday. Let me tell you that. Listen, go be great, y'all.